Hi everyone, Richard here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you the two easiest ways to update your firmware on your Canon camera using my Canon R6. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Richard, a lover of photography, and this is my channel all about sharing what I know and what I do with photography related tips, tricks, editing things, camera things. But today, updating firmware on your Canon cameras. Like I said, I'm using the Canon R6. Really easy to do. I'm going to show you two ways of doing it. Both are just as simple as the other. I have a preference, which I'll tell you which mine is at the end of the video. My current camera is on version 1.6 and we are going to upgrade it to 1.7 with one of the methods and 1.8 with the other method. So I have been waiting for two installs or two firmware updates to come out before I can do this video so that I can show you how to do the two different ways. That's all there is really. I'm going to make it as quick as I can. Let's look at the first way, which is how you update it by using an SD card in your camera. The second way is really similar, but it uses the EOS utility app. So first up, via the SD card. Okay, so the first method we are going to go through is how you install it direct onto your camera from an SD card that you put in your camera. So first of all, we have to get the firmware update onto the SD card. We do that by downloading it from the Canon website. So here in the UK, we go to canon.co.uk/support. You will see the tabs at the top and we want to make sure we're on consumer, followed by support, and then make sure you are on downloads and help. And then you just scroll down and you pick your product. So we are doing the EOS R6. And that will give us all the information, software, manuals, drivers, and firmware for the R6. So make sure you click on the firmware tab, scroll down and pick the version that you want. I'm currently running 1.6, so I'm going to upgrade to 1.7 for this demonstration. And I'm running a Mac, so I'm going to pick the 1.7 for Mac OS. And I'm going to click download and we will see this pop-up window. We just agree to the license agreement and that will download. We next then go to our, let's just move that out of the way. We go to our downloads folder and we can see it downloading there. It should only take a few seconds. There we go. And once it's downloaded, double click on it and we should see something appear down the locations folder in the sidebar here. So we're going to double click and here we have it now, EOS R6 version 1.7 for Mac. So we are going to click on that and we can see the firmware file here, depicted with the FIR at the end, EOS R617.fir, FIR. I already have a memory card here and it's all formatted in camera, ready to take the firmware update. So I'm just going to click, drag and copy it onto the memory card. And we have to put it not in one of the folders, but we have to put it on directly onto the memory card. Otherwise the camera will not find it. I have tried to do it without, with it being in one of these folders that it traditionally gives you when you format, but it doesn't work if it's in that folder. So we are going to put it in the root folder there. And that will take a few seconds to copy. There we go, all done. We are now going to take the memory card with the firmware update on it, and we are going to take that memory card to the camera and update it direct from the camera. So let's take a look at the back of the camera now. Okay, so here we are on the back of the Canon R6. We are going to press the menu button. And if you're not already on it, you need to scroll along to the spanner, the yellow menu. And it is menu number 5 in the spanner menu. And you can see here now we are using version 1.6. Click on there and it gives us the option to update the camera or the lens firmware. We are going to update the camera. And it says there the current firmware version is 1.6 and we are going to update firmware by clicking OK. That will now do its thing. So once it's thought about it, it gives us this screen here which shows us the firmware that we installed on this memory card a few moments ago. So we are going to hit the set button to pick that. It's telling us we want to update from 1.6 to 1.7, which we do. Hit OK. And this will take a few minutes, I believe, so we'll just leave that running while I speed it up a little bit. Okay, so I did stop the camera because it has been running now for about 7 minutes, so that's how long it takes. And there we go, the update is complete. We have gone from version 1.6 to version 1.7, and if we tap OK, the camera has restarted. Let's go back into the menu and we can see now that the version is 1.7. So that is a very quick demonstration of how you update the firmware on Canon cameras. I'm using the Canon R6, using the method where you put the update file on the SD card, put the SD card in the camera and update it direct from the SD card. Next up, we're going to have a quick look about how we update it using the EOS utility app, and for that we are going to go back to the computer screen. Welcome back to the computer. So we are now going to update the firmware using the Canon EOS utility app, but we do still have to download it to our hard drive before we do that. So like before, go into your chosen browser, find the navigate to, I'll say it quickly again, canon.co.uk/support, consumer, support, downloads and help, and that should bring us to where you select your product. We're going to go through this real quick in case you've joined halfway through. So pick your EOS camera, EOS R, I'm using the R6, and we want to come across here to firmware. So we did just update it via the SD card using 1.7. We are now going to update it to the current version of 1.8. So we have to do the same thing again. We download the firmware update, click on download, and we will see that downloading. That shouldn't take too long to download. We are going to go back to our downloads folder, and here we can see version 1.8 is downloading now. So again, we are going to double click on there, and we now have EOS R6 version 1.8 in the locations panel down the sides, and there is the EOS R6 version 1.8 there. I am, for this instance, just going to drag it to the downloads folder because I'm not 100% sure if we can choose it from this location when we come to update it using the EOS utility app. You may be able to, but as this is my first time, I'm not sure. So I'm going to grab this and I'm just going to put it in the downloads folder. And there we have the EOS R6 1.8 firmware update. Now, to do it via the Canon EOS utility app, you have to have your camera connected to your computer with a USB lead. The R6 uses a USB-C lead. That is already connected, and I've found that the only way that the EOS utility app recognizes the camera is if you do it in a certain order. So you have to open, my camera is turned off at the moment, you have to open the EOS utility app, and you can see these options are grayed out. You then turn the camera on and these options should jump into life. There we go. Camera settings, firmware update. We are currently on current version 1.7, which we know, and we're looking at step 1 of 5 here. Do we want to continue updating the firmware? Yes, we do. Download the firmware file, which we've just done. After downloading, go to the next step. We are at the next step. Choose the file downloaded for the update. We are going to browse. We are in downloads already. Version 1.8. Open. And then we are going to click on next. Updating the camera firmware. So we are going to click on next again. So as we can see here, the firmware has been copied to the card anyway, and it is now showing you, I'll show you quickly the back of my camera. This is a bit handheld, so bear with me. But you can see there now that the camera is asking us, or because it's gone onto that same SD card, it's recognizing that there are 2 firmwares on there. We are obviously currently on 1.7, so we are going to update to 1.8, and we are going to press set. Update 1.7 to 1.8, okay, and that it's doing its thing. And as you know from before, it can take quite a while to do. It took 7 minutes before. So this is going to run through. I am going to stop recording the screen and I'll come back when it is on version 1.8 and it is fully updated. So there we go, you can see on the screen there it's nearly done, 96%. And on this screen I'm just going to click OK there. And there we go, done. It has closed down EOS Utility, and the camera is telling us that we have updated from 1.7 to 1.8. I'm just going to disconnect from the computer, back into the menus, come along to screen 5, and you can see that we are now on version 1.8. And that was updated via the EOS Utility app. Okay, so there we go. That is 2 quick reasons or 2 quick demonstrations of how you can update your firmware for the Canon cameras. I was using the R6. Really straightforward, and the only real difference is how you get the firmware update onto the memory card. You either do it manually yourself by copying it onto the memory card and putting the memory card in your camera, or you connect the camera to the computer and you install it on the memory card via the USB cable. I've found it a little bit easier to do it just by the memory card, I think, if I'm being honest, and that's the way I'm going to do it in the future. But there's 2 ways. You choose which way is best for you. Thank you for watching. Another video is out, and I hope you enjoyed that one and it was useful. If you've got any other ways of updating firmware, let me know down below. I think you can do it via the Canon camera app. I don't use that because I found it very unreliable, so not for me. But yeah, if you found that useful, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the things that will help the channel, and see you in the next video. Until then, take care. So welcome, hi, Richard here, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to look, hello, welcome back, hello, yeah.